among the many things that appear on the road. These aren't just some incidents, but warnings caught by drivers who were simply in the wrong place at the wrong time. Watch till the end, as they're the kind you'll replay just to make sure you actually saw that. The source, who shared this clip on Twitter on the 13th of December 2025, said he was heading to work when he captured a terrifying figure that, at first glance, appeared to be a real person. Within just a few seconds, however, he claimed it revealed itself as a demon sitting in the driver's seat. To avoid getting its attention, the source pretended not to have seen it while still managing to get a zoomed-in recording. Apart from the scary face, nothing else was reported to have changed, and it managed to avoid attention. Levitating sedan. Being on the way to work, a bus passenger in Shenyang witnessed a vehicle that appeared to be levitating several feet above the ground while slowly moving forward. Despite the vehicle being in the air and moving as if it were just another normal thing on the road, other drivers refrained from driving underneath it to avoid any safety risk. Another clip, reported to have been filmed in the same area by a different bystander, showed two vehicles that also appeared to be randomly lifted, though not as prominently as in the first case. It is unclear if this was some glitch or perhaps a secret testing of some new tech that was in play. Strange family. As a girl who was commuting on a bus unknowingly filmed a moment until she later noticed something that was very off. A vehicle passed, and everyone seemed to be wearing face masks and looked hypnotized by something bizarre seated just behind them. It looked nothing like a person, rather as if it were some supernatural or extraterrestrial entity. The plate number was redacted on purpose to avoid any potential legal issues that could follow. Shapeshifter creature. On the 16th of March 2026, on the outskirts of Mexico, two drivers stopped after spotting a bizarre figure that appeared to be half human and half snake, crawling along the roadside as if it had emerged from nowhere. Though it had a reptilian head, its chest and arms, which were attached to the rest of the snake's body, seemed to be human. The creature was slithering with the aid of its arms, while it kept an eye on both of them. From the very existence to the very nature of this bizarre creature, everything about it is unbelievable. Trolley tanker ride. This video, which went viral back in 2022, shows a man in Pretoria riding a shopping trolley while clinging to the back of a moving engine fuel tanker on the N1 highway. Despite heavy rain and slippery roads, he appeared to enjoy the ride, smiling and waving at passing drivers. Captured from multiple angles, the footage quickly spread across social media. The Gauteng traffic police launched an investigation, calling the stunt both illegal and reckless, particularly given the heavy rain. Engen praised the tanker driver for safely stopping the vehicle after being alerted by other motorists, preventing a potential disaster. Headless customer. A delivery worker in Indonesia was involved in a bizarre incident that was captured on camera. While handing over an order, he suddenly appeared to notice something unusual about the customer, causing him to freeze in place before quickly running away in fear. The clip later spread widely on Facebook, drawing intense reactions online. Viewers were left unsettled by what seemed like an unexplained moment during an otherwise routine delivery, and the footage continues to spark debate, with many replaying it in disbelief. Bottled Medusa. Just a couple of weeks ago, back in February, natives of a small village in Colombia filmed and shared what looked like a terrifying figure held in a large glass jar. The figure seemed to have a resemblance to that of a fictional entity known as Medusa, except that its body was that of a snake instead of having several snake heads protruding from its head. While no one knows where it was found or how they captured it, seeing that it was alive yet unable to move was enough to leave everyone terrified just by the sight of it. Spooky biker. If you ever think about riding alone at night, you may want to reconsider. One man was cycling down a deserted road in the dark when he spotted a girl ahead, gliding along with her long hair drifting behind her. It felt wrong. No one should have been out there. As he got closer, she slowly turned and looked straight at him. Her face was terrifyingly pale, and she looked at him with an eerie, unnatural smile. The shock hit him instantly, and he lost control and crashed. The footage jolted wildly before cutting off. Later, locals spoke of a spirit that targets lone riders on that road, and most who cross it are never seen again. Street zombie. She had just stepped out of her car when something strange caught her eye. A man stood a short distance away, his body twisted in a way that didn't look human, bent backward at an impossible angle. His face was locked in a disturbing grin, and his wide, unblinking eyes made him look lifeless, yet aware at the same time. Without warning, he started moving fast and jerky, like his body wasn't under normal control. The area was empty, with no one else around to see it. She froze, unsure how long he had been there or what she was witnessing. In that moment, the only thought that made sense to her was chilling. She might be looking at something not entirely human. Chasing humanoid. Two friends who were out on a late-night drive in Malibu, California, when a weird humanoid suddenly appeared from the darkness. The source, who was riding shotgun, happened to be filming when he noticed an entity with glowing eyes as it sprinted towards them. Just as it was at a spitting distance away, the driver managed to speed up and managed to get away from it in time. Whether this was a person that was possessed or something that was completely demonic remains unclear. Driverless bike being shared on Reddit. A video showed a man seated on the passenger seat of a motorcycle as it moves steadily forward with no obvious rider in control. At first, the person filming assumes it might be a trick or a planned stunt, or perhaps just an unusual coincidence that the bike continues straight without tipping over. The footage quickly raises questions, leaving viewers unsure whether it's a clever setup or simply a strange moment caught on camera. Antler humanoid. While driving along an interstate in Wyoming, a couple encountered something deeply unsettling blocking their path. The figure didn't look anything familiar, almost like a mix between a body and something unnatural, standing motionless in the road. Instead of backing away, the driver cautiously moved closer to get a better look. In response, the figure suddenly reacted, letting out a harsh sound before striking at the vehicle with what appeared to be antlers. The recording ends abruptly, leaving the outcome unknown. The driver's decision to approach rather than retreat only makes the encounter feel even more tense and unsettling. Mysterious girl. A man on his routine walk noticed a tall girl nearby who immediately stood out in an unsettling way. Something about her appearance felt off. Her features seemed unfamiliar, and her overall look didn't match anyone he had ever seen in the area. Even her skin appeared unusual under the light, adding to the strange impression. Sensing something odd, he began recording, but the clip cut off suddenly before anything more could be captured. Her identity was never confirmed, and the brief footage left people guessing. Some suggested a rare medical condition could explain her appearance, while others believed it pointed to something far more mysterious, leaving the incident open to speculation. Dragging hand. For most drivers, an ambulance speeding by is routine, but in Argentina, one woman saw something she couldn't forget. As she drove, a pale, lifeless hand dangled from the ambulance's side door, scraping across the asphalt as it raced ahead. Shocked, she and nearby drivers honked frantically, trying to get it to stop, but the vehicle kept moving. Many online felt it was far too disturbing to be a joke. Whatever the truth, the haunting image of that hand dragging along the road has stayed with those who witnessed it. Greenish humanoid. Dash cam of a trucker who was passing through the Corsicana motorway when he spotted a strange greenish humanoid figure standing by the roadside. He described seeing the person walking and wearing unusual clothing, but when he passed and glanced in his rearview mirror, it had vanished. A very similar sighting was made in another instance, where a local was looking for a suitable parking spot for the city's popular German Christmas market. As this one was much closer, this greenish humanoid being was revealed to be bearded as it menacingly stared at the lens of the camera. Glitch freeze. On the streets of Albuquerque, New Mexico, a driver was stopped as a man came in his way and didn't move away despite honking several times. As he got out to investigate, was puzzled to discover that the man who was idly standing in the middle of the road was actually completely frozen. From the posture, facial expression, to focused open eyes, it didn't even as much as flinch as the source tried to get its attention as he attempted a fake punch on the man. What do you think could be wrong with this pedestrian?
Let me test you out. Bam!
Secret cargo. An unknown source leaked this footage on Instagram on February 20th, showing a very large protected military convoy that was passing. In it, several 18-wheelers could be seen carrying UFOs on their backs through the desert in undisclosed location, heading towards Area 51. In another clip that was shared by the same source, showed the convoy after it reached Area 51. Whether these were to capture enemy aircrafts, a clone copy, or some type of work together with the extraterrestrials remains a mystery. Haunted encounter. A curious bystander who was passing by a really old house in Santa Fe, where he witnessed something very spooky. At first, the light turned on by itself immediately as the bystander approached, while slowing down until it turned off back again. Within moments, he could see a spooky face or a figure inside the house that was staring at him. This very house was known to be empty and was sealed for nearly 20 years, which rules out the possibility of this being some human. Underground noise. Recently, in an undisclosed location in China, footage captured hundreds, possibly thousands of mine workers suddenly fleeing in panic. In the background, a deafening, eerie sound can be heard, as if some ancient giant had been awakened. Some speculate the area might have been cursed, never meant to be discovered or disturbed. Due to strict censorship, the true source of the sound and what happened afterward remains unknown. Masked individual. In a public park in Ontario, Canada, a student noticed something very unusual while he was studying out in the open in broad daylight. What initially looked like an ordinary person turned out to be something else completely, as it started adjusting what looked like a human mask. Once it was clear that this wasn't an actual human, the only other explanation left was that this was either some reptilian or an extraterrestrial that was in human disguise. Road ritual. The owner of a TikTok profile at Daughter of Christ 97 shared a video that she filmed on 28 March 2023, showing a very concerning activity. In the middle of the streets of Melbourne, Australia, she noticed a cult of Satan worshippers who looked like they were actively in the midst of a ritual.
Let's have some satanic ritual, guys.
From having bright red hair and clothes to gesturing symbolism, the cult members were up to something, along with a large, automated object. They started marching in broad daylight, something they wouldn't have been comfortable doing a decade ago. Marching mummy. Speaking of automation, another such case was noticed on the streets of Acapulco, Mexico. The witness, who had just gotten out of his parked vehicle when he noticed this, he first took it to be like an automated robot that was roaming around all over the area, until he got a much closer look, finding that it looked something very much like a mummy. Apart from what it was, the bigger question that remains is where it came from or broke out of. However, it could also be possible that this was a result of some voodoo magic. NPCs. The idea of people acting like NPCs isn't limited to video games, and one strange moment in Paris seemed to reflect just that. A biker waiting for a friend noticed an unusual pattern among pedestrians passing by an empty building. One after another, several people would briefly glance at the structure, then walk up to it and stand completely still, staring inside. After a few seconds, they would snap out of it and continue as if nothing had happened. The repeated, almost synchronized behavior left the biker, and later viewers of the footage questioning whether it was a mere coincidence or something far more unusual unfolding in plain view. Raging entities. By every passing day, road rage is increasingly becoming quite scary. A driver who was cut off by another while on the streets in San Diego, California, recorded this encounter. The enraged woman attempted to show hostility, which the recorder managed to avoid until the situation calmed down after a few minutes. In one other instance, another driver almost became a victim of a raging pedestrian who attempted to get in her vehicle without any provocation. While she managed to drive away from trouble, the recording from the camera, upon being reviewed later, revealed that this was some normal person, rather than looking as if it was someone who was possessed.
What you recording though, boy? Why you recording?
Tail light terror. Two friends parked deep in the woods, enjoying the night air, until one of them casually looked over their shoulder toward the back of the car and froze. Near the dim taillight, a pale face slowly appeared, ghost white with huge, black, unblinking eyes staring straight at them. It didn't move. Didn't breathe. I just watched. Some say it was a creature like the rake, others believe it was a spirit waiting. But after a look like that over your shoulder, you'll never sit in a car the same way again. Ghost Girl. In the early hours of the 22nd of April, 2022, a man was driving home when a woman suddenly appeared in the middle of the road, forcing him to brake hard.
Who is she?
I don't know, but that's creepy.
I'm good.
She wore a white jumpsuit and was barefoot despite the cold. Instead of reacting normally, she slowly turned and began walking straight toward his driver's side door, her gaze fixed on him. Her eyes looked unnatural, either completely white or entirely black, depending on who saw them. Acting on instinct, he reversed quickly to create distance, then drove around her. When he looked back, moments later, she was gone. The incident felt disturbing, leaving behind more questions than answers.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Devastating dogs. Security cameras in Sakarya, Turkey's Marmara region, captured a baffling scene involving a group of stray dogs. 8 of them were wandering calmly along a quiet street when they passed a parked car. Then, without warning, they all stopped, turned back, and suddenly changed behavior. What followed was chaotic. The dogs began barking aggressively and focused their attention on a vehicle, biting at its body, ripping at the front bumper, and damaging the tires until the car was left badly wrecked. There was no clear trigger for the sudden outburst, and the incident left viewers puzzled and uneasy, with no obvious explanation for what set them off. Walking shapeshifters. This leaked security camera clip taken from an undisclosed location shows 2 men walking through a hallway when one of them appears to momentarily glitch, with his head seemingly shifting in an unnatural way as he moves. The source who shared the footage initially claimed it came from Area 51, but later suggested it was actually recorded at a private jet terminal in an airport. Online reactions quickly spread, with some viewers speculating about aliens, while others claimed it looked like something shape-shifting in real time. The clip remains unexplained, leaving more questions than answers. Stuck in loop. Though taking selfies is perfectly fine, nothing was normal about this clip. A passenger noticed a woman who seemed stuck in an unusual pattern. She would snap a photo of herself, check the screen, and instantly take another, repeating the same actions over and over without stopping. She appeared completely absorbed, barely aware of her surroundings, as if caught in a loop she couldn't break. The behavior went on and on, creating an uneasy feeling for anyone watching. It looked like something that might only end if someone interrupted her, or if her phone finally ran out of power. Winged crawler. A group of hikers came across this unknown creature that had stopped along the narrow trail after seeing something unusual lying in the middle of the path. From its head, Wings to almost its feet, it looked like a vulture, if not a falcon, except that these were unusually long to be anything normal. It kept on hissing at all the bystanders to keep them away, and revealed itself to have wings that looked very much like a bat. While the actual nature of this creature remains unknown, the hikers started calling it a giant bat from another dimension. Val Johnson incident. Early in the morning of the 27th of August, 1979, Deputy Sheriff Val Johnson was conducting a routine patrol when an intense, bright light suddenly appeared and rushed toward his vehicle, resulting in an impact-like event. After the incident, his vehicle showed significant damage. The windshield was broken, the antennas were bent, and both his wristwatch and the car's clock were found to be 14 minutes behind. Johnson also experienced temporary vision loss and later sought medical treatment.
I have no idea. It's truly unexplainable to me, or unknown to me.
Despite thorough investigations, no evidence of the encounter was found beyond his damaged car and eye injuries. Some believe aliens abducted him for 14 minutes. Johnson expects they may return and plans to be ready. Alien reveal. A clip of Tim Burchett, who is a U.S. representative for Tennessee's 2nd Congressional District, went viral as he ambled through the streets of Washington. He shared with the source about alien entities that are here on Earth and that they're rising out of the ocean.
We think they're coming in from way out. Maybe they did millennia ago, but they're here and they're in these deep water areas.
Road spirit. Night often feels quiet, but sometimes it holds things people can't explain. A truck driver traveling his usual route captured something strange on his dashcam, a pale figure standing motionless beside the road. At first glance, it seemed like a woman, but the longer he watched, the more unsettling it became. No one should have been out there at that time, in such a remote place. The clip quickly spread online, sparking speculation. Locals began sharing stories about a woman who reportedly had passed away in a strange incident along that road. Since then, many drivers say they prefer to avoid that stretch after dark. Bigfoot crossing. A sheriff's deputy from Willow Creek, California, who, while passing through a dense forest, was brought to a halt by a sudden and unexpected sighting. He noticed what can only be best described to be a Bigfoot that was crossing the road, unbothered to be seen by the deputy. Considering the size, it looks much bigger than the average known size of a Bigfoot. Arrested robo. On the streets of Shenzhen, police were called by pedestrians after a mobile robot was seen roaming around and causing a disturbance in the area. Witnesses reported that it was moving unpredictably and bothering passers-by, drawing attention and concern. Authorities arrived to assess the situation and bring it under control by taking the robot away, creating a spectacle as if the robot was behaving like it were a human. Fleeing figure. TikToker at BraveBrave674, who was moving through a desert road in Namibia in an undisclosed location where he spotted this unrecognizable entity. It was running along an isolated road, presumably after seeing the recorder. Considering its ape-like nature, initial beliefs circulated of it being a Bigfoot, though it looks nothing like one, and not to mention, Bigfoots aren't known to exist in a desert area. Could it be a hillbilly or some giant? Let us know what you guys think. Parking lot ambush. Only moments after this driver got into his vehicle, the very unexpected suddenly began to happen. A clip from the 11th of September, 2023, taken just outside a wholesale center, shows a shopping cart rushing toward a person before colliding with the vehicle. Immediately after, a swarm of carts can be seen moving across the area, including toward the person recording. This didn't appear to be caused by wind, given how precisely the carts seemed to target people in the parking lot not just once, but multiple times, and how the movement spread in different directions. Ghostly girl. CCTV footage from a road near a cemetery reportedly captured an unusual and unsettling moment that has left many people uneasy. The video shows a young girl appearing on the road, seemingly emerging from the direction of the nearby cemetery. As she moves forward, she is seen passing directly through a metal gate, something that would be impossible under normal circumstances. At first, some viewers assumed it might be a camera error or visual glitch, but the figure then fades away without a trace. The clip has since led to local rumors, with some people claiming to have felt or seen something strange in the area at night, adding to the mystery surrounding the footage. Unexpected evasion. On November 25, 2024, during a police pursuit, a suspect attempted an unusual tactic to evade capture. While being chased, he threw a flashlight out of his vehicle. One reportedly capable of producing 100,000 lumens. The intense light briefly illuminated the road and caused temporary visual disruption for the officers, giving the suspect a critical moment to escape. By the time the officers regained their sight, the vehicle had disappeared, leaving no immediate trace of his whereabouts. The incident was later described as a highly unconventional and effective escape maneuver.
Subject is lost, headed unknown.
Crawler roadblock. Driving alone through a dark, wooded road at night is unsettling enough, but one driver experienced something even more disturbing. As he made his way home, he suddenly hit the brakes after noticing a figure crouched near the roadside. At first glance, it looked like a person, but the footage he recorded revealed something far more strange. The figure appeared bent at unnatural angles, with limbs that seemed far too long and out of place to be human. The unsettling sight left many questioning what it could be, with some suggesting it might be an unusual forest encounter, while others believed it was something far more mysterious. Strange driver. A woman recording her surroundings during a casual walk later drew attention online when viewers noticed something unsettling in the footage. Inside a parked car nearby, a faint figure appears to be watching her, with a pale face and large, fixed-looking eyes staring through the windshield. The figure remains still and seems to face directly toward the camera, creating an eerie moment that went unnoticed by the woman at the time. The clip sparked debate, with some suggesting it could be a reflection or a person in disguise, while others found the image far more disturbing. Rolling tires. At a time when this man was relaxing outside after a long day, when something unusual was later seen in nearby surveillance footage. Two tires resting in a corner suddenly began to roll on their own, moving slowly toward where he had been sitting. No other objects appeared to be moving, making the moment even more strange. As soon as the man stood up, the tires stopped and fell over, leaving no clear explanation for what caused the movement. The incident sparked debate, with some suggesting it was a prank, while others believed it had no obvious explanation, but the man quickly left the area without investigating further. Door phantom. Security camera footage from Mexico captured a strange and unexplained moment outside a home. The video shows a dark, shadow-like figure briefly appearing near the front door, moving in a way that seemed deliberate, as if observing the area. When the homeowner opened the door to check, nothing was there, only silence and an empty space. The figure had vanished without a trace, leaving no clear explanation. The clip ends there, leaving viewers wondering whether it was just a trick of light or something more unusual. Hitchhiking apparition. In the early hours near Route 34, close to Totoras, a group of truck drivers reported a disturbing encounter while traveling together. One driver noticed a woman standing still along the roadside, but she disappeared just moments later without any clear cause. Soon after, another driver turned on his headlights and saw a figure clinging to the back of the moving truck, her features hidden in the darkness. As the vehicle slowed near a roundabout, the figure reportedly slipped away and vanished. Alarmed by what they had seen, the drivers quickly left the area, and although the moment was recorded, no clear explanation has been found. Open discussion. This picture and video was shared on March 14th, 2026, showing what looks like Jeffrey Epstein, who was enjoying driving what looked like a newly purchased vehicle. The video soon after got viral, considering how famous the case has gotten worldwide. Considering the very resemblance, majority of the viewers were convinced that this was indeed the actual living Epstein. Later, in another clip, after this person tried to convince the internet that he wasn't the actual Epstein, everyone denied, citing as that is exactly what a real Epstein would say as well.